Hey everybody, how's it going there? This is Andre here. Anyway, how's it going everybody? Well, I must say, I'm in a better mood than I was yesterday. If you did see my video from yesterday, yeah, it was, things were a little bleak and a little depressing. But it was one of those things that I just had to get it off my chest, and I needed someone to talk to, and it was basically you all out there. I needed somewhere to vent, because I just hate just keeping stuff bottled in, and you're just dwelling on it and everything. And since it is how the situation is with me here. I mean, if you don't know my situation, I am single. I have no family out here, and I have friends, but I have maybe more acquaintances than actual friends, and I don't have access to, well, I guess I kind of do, but of people to talk to, like counselors and stuff like that. But I mean, if I really wanted it, I could do it, but it's one of those things like I don't really feel like doing it. Maybe one day for fun, But anyway, that's the situation with me here. Basically, today is September 11th, and unless you've been living under a rock or you weren't born on September 11th, 2001, basically I want to pay tribute to all those fallen heroes, all those victims. I think it was like a little over 2,900 that perished. And then for the ones the first responders, police, and the firefighters, people who later died later on. They survived, but then they later died, like, due to being exposed to toxic dust and all that stuff, and getting cancer and everything. So a tribute to them, the heroes there. But basically, I'm just here to pay a tribute, and just to tell you, where were you during 9/11? Where were you? Well, I'll tell you where I was. I wasn't in New York City. I was in Orange County, California. And I was working as a service technician. And I just remember that day. It was a little bit of a blur now, since it was literally in 2001. And as of this recording, it is September 11, 2024. And but where was I? So basically, I was a service technician in Orange County, in Costa Mesa. So basically, just, go to the office, get your paperwork, and you do your thing, And then, at exactly 9/11, basically 9 a.m., 11 minutes past that, that's when it happened. I remember I was on my route, I was at my customers. Oh, actually, no, let me backtrack. We're talking West Coast time and East Coast time. No. So basically, it's a 3-hour time difference. So I remember getting to my office to get my paperwork and get my day ready, when all of a sudden, other technicians were like in shock. People were wondering what the hell happened. People had, this is before smartphones, so people had the radio on, they had the TV on, and basically said, we just got attacked, And it's like, huh? It didn't really register, until I put on the radio, because it was radio back in those days. It wasn't like what it is now, but it was just radio and TV, and I remember going throughout my day and just listening to the radio. And at the time, I listened to K-Rock, when they had Kevin and Bean, and KLOS, I listened to the radio. And at the time, the radio talent was Frosty, Heidi, and Frank. And, and I remember Frank just crying. I remember they were doing the broadcast and he was just crying. And I think later on, they brought in Tom Leykis. And if you don't know who Tom Leykis is, there's plenty of YouTube videos out there. I was a fan back in the day, But at that day, Tom Leykis wasn't Tom Leykis that day. He didn't talk about, what he usually talks about. He was different. So they brought him in. I believe like he was brought in after Frosty, Heidi, and Frank. And basically he just talked all day. He talked all day. He comforted people. People called in. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional, but yeah, he called and he comforted people. You know, people were angry that day. And like, we were all angry. Oh, I'm sorry. But we were all asking ourselves, what the hell happened that day? What happened? You know, how come nobody saw this coming? Sorry. But yeah, I just remember he was on all day, most of the day. And I remember Howard Stern was on that day too. I think he had his show just right before Kevin and Bean did. And he was on. And he was just talking to people too. You know? So that's what happened, you know? And that's the day I will never forget. I mean, I wasn't in New York City that day, but I know people who were, friends and family, who were in New York City that day. You know, they lived, you know, in the suburbs, or they lived in the city, and it was just one of those things like, this happens, you know, in third world countries. This happen. We see this on TV happen in other countries, but why here? It's not supposed to happen here, you know? And how could this happen? You know? But it did. And it didn't matter, you know, if you were red on the political spectrum, or blue, or somewhere in between. Everybody was an American that day. Everybody. Everybody came together. You know, so everybody, you were an American. It didn't matter if you were old. It didn't matter if you were white, black, brown, yellow, red, anything. Half, biracial, it didn't matter. You were an American that day. And you were still an American, you know? I feel for those families who lost their dad, who lost their mom. You know, I feel for those kids who never grew up, you know, knowing who their parents were, or their mom was, or who their dad was. You know? Can you imagine that? Those kids now, who were born in 2001, are like 24 years old. That is so weird, you know? I mean, I was how old was I? I was like, I was probably like 24 or 25, I guess. I don't remember, but I remember though. I remember going to different houses and just watching, everyone had their TV on, you know, and it's just surreal. It was a surreal experience, you know. You know, I remember one customer, he gave me, I think he used to be like he was a retired NYPD, you know, police guy, and he gave me a hat, you know. He gave me a NYPD hat. And I always remember that, you know. You know, while I was like doing my thing, you know. But like, it just makes you stop and think, yes, you know, if you did see my video, you know, I was kind of disappointed I was friend zoned, you know. But you know what? It's one of those things like, if you think, you know, you have problems, people have it worse, you know, they have it worse. Yes, it hurts getting friend zoned. It hurts getting rejected. It hurts being, you know, losing, basically. Losing. You know? But once you think you have it bad, other people have it worse. You know? And poor kids who lost their parents, or mom and dad, you know, or a spouse, you know, they have it the worst, man. You know, it's not about me, you know, crying because I didn't get the girl, or I lost the lottery, or I missed the green light driving, you know, or the yellow light driving. It doesn't matter, you know. It doesn't matter. So anyway, that's where I was. And the thing was, when that happened, besides being so surreal and wondering what happened, I always remember, like, the thing that I always remember is that we all just came together as Americans, as people. That's the thing I remember the most, It didn't matter what your beliefs were back then. We all came together, But anyway, that's what I want to do with this video, is basically just pay a tribute to those who lost their lives. And to those brave souls of Flight 93 who deviated that plane, took over the cockpit, and prevented other lives from being lost too. So I think in total, the Flight 93, people from, there was a plane that crashed in the Pentagon. I think people died there, like 118. And the two planes that hit the two towers, Now, I remember as a kid back in 1983, 1984-ish, I got to go on the towers. And it was cool. I was like 6 years old back then. And I remember it being so high up. It was so high up. I think we had lunch there or something. I just remember looking out the window and everybody looked like ants. All the cars, people, they looked like ants. That's what I remember. And my mom got nervous. I was literally glued to the window looking down, I get nervous too, And I just remember being so high up and thinking, wow, I'm really high, man, And this was back in, I think it was 83. And I remember that. So I can, finally, I'm one of those lucky people who's ever graced the Twin Towers there back in 83. And just remember watching movies, films, TV shows, and you always see the two Twin Towers, in the background. And then later on, post 9/11, you don't see that anymore. You see basically their replacements, I remember when I lived in New York City, I went out there a few times, excuse me for burping there. I went down there a few times, and there was just a big giant crater and just a memorial. Now, they have new towers, and they're, modern. They're modern, and they are, it's a tribute, and there's like a museum there. I don't think I've been there ever since they built the new towers and everything. But that's basically that right there. I mean, I will be passing through New York City. Maybe I'll stop by, and take a peek. If I will, I'll totally film it and get some footage and just check it out. And so yeah, I didn't mean this video to be like a sob story, but I'm fortunate that I was not there at 9/11, and I didn't have any family or friends who went through that tragedy. Whether you were there or on one of those planes, being like working in those buildings in the Twin Towers, or basically like just police officer, firefighter, EMT person, or on the airplanes. I'm fortunate that I didn't have family or friends on those planes, or at the towers themselves. So I count my blessings every day. Now sometimes, we're gonna, like how I ranted yesterday, there's times that life sucks, and we don't get what we want. And, we pout, we scream, we yell, we take our anger out on people. We don't really mean it. We're pissed off at the time. And then we look back and we're like, damn, that was stupid, that was really dumb. And then you apologize to the person, like, hey, sorry, I was being mean, and you just kind of look back like, wow, I was angry, but gosh, you want to take it back, So yeah, I'm just saying is like, we all have problems, but people have it worse than we do. Some other people have it worse than we do. And, life's a challenge. Like I look back at all the experiences I've had, in my life. And it's just made me a stronger person, it's called life experience, and I'm grateful for that life experience, and I hope to continue to learn even more, have more life experiences, So yeah, so that's basically the end here. And yeah, September 11th, 2001, a day that we would never forget as Americans. The world would not forget. But mainly, whenever I go to New York City, whether it's to visit, passing through, I never forget. Never forget. All right, everybody. Oh, I forgot to mention. Well, anyway, no, that's something else. So anyway, oh, actually, you know what? I forgot to mention. Yeah, I'm here in Santa Monica. Here at Santa Monica at the Water Garden here, Santa Monica, California. And yeah, it's quite of a cool place. Got a cool little fountain in the background. It's a little lit up. Yeah, look at that cool fountain there. And yeah, it's a nice place. I usually hang out to kind of reflect and meditate and take a little walk, you know. But yeah, that's cool. It's awesome. So anyway, everybody, you take care, stay safe, stay cool, and you have a great night. Have a great night. Yeah, have a great day. Bye-bye.